nhau rong cho ý chọn này chỉ cái tên là thế cho bây giờ bảo cho dân số tụ đầu quân nó giờ Victor va bây giờ Richard bảo va lúc này giờ lúc trâu lên đu lúc thì có xung quanh trên cái ý tại sao nó cũng thế Victor nhau tụ này Road America là giờ Motor America có chơi shit từ chơi áo lúa là giờ chơi cầu va là giờ motorcycle nhớ đồ hậu sinh Wisconsin nó có chơi này có chơi shit từ thằng shit chập là lo luôn America hút được professional giờ là rong shit tại đó này sẽ là thì đầu cũng thế Victor shit thà nhớ đồ nóก็ที่กูตัวว่ามั่วสอสื่อโจ Aden Thao จะเป็นมงอีตัวจะถ้าเท่าตัวเราไม่ใช่ตัวทางเชียชับเลยเราจะรวยมีการลิจงจี professional เนี่ยเราได้จะมีการเนาะเนี่ยเราถึงเนาะก็ต้องในถ่ายมันจีในกินเนาะในเขาจงในจัดดูเลยจ้ะ
Aden Thao 有一ตัวหลวงมงตัวเซนแคลิฟอร์เนียตัวเราอย่างเงี้ยเซนแคลิฟอร์เนียกูนั่นในถ่ายมันจีจ้าเดียvì lý do này thì họ nhiều trả một tàu ship từ nó lo nó chỉ như bây mình chỉ sợ hai tia vì tia như chế này vậy như chỉ này cho tí lâu là lấy bớt nhiều chế này vậy nếu là nhiều chế chỉ ta như cái gì lo là chỉ như bí nhiều chỉ như cái gì thâu là một trả motorcycle nó cái chỉ ta nó cũng nó thả hai tia cái trả motorcycle này cũng nhiều thế họ bù Porsche rồi thế giá trị有这里还得有主过个刀呢，对呀，那好牛差不多价，这个那你看那别人去做些生意那单呢，还有么多好多天咯，有么在这前么好多人那个别人去做好的。
这里中间呢，估计被么些Victor做 Aden Thao สิทธาต่อการถอนหมดที่สิทธิ์เนี่ยจนหุ่นเนาะถ้าคิดจะยังไม่ยอมจีเทียแต่是中间呢，估计被么些做Victor 做สิทธาต่อการเดินมาต่อการหลังชิ้นไหนด้วยชิ้นด้วยเลย
แต่เราคุณรู้ว่าลุงมองอย่างนี้แต่ลุงมีการตรวจสงลุงมองเราตรวจจ่าแต่เราคุยให้ลุงมีการโดนเราคุ้มมัวเท่ตัวเขาเดียวไปยังมองอเมริกันเลยเกี่ยวกับนี้ไปยังได้ชิมปลาไปให้ลุงปลาตรวจลุงมองนี่เราเท่านั้นเกี่ยวกับรัสเซียเกี่ยวกับเขานำมาเชื่อสัตว์สื่อให้ได้ชิมมาเยอะวีตัวรัวเนาะเราจะเอเดนท่อนเนี่ยตัว包ลุงมองจงเกี่ยวกับตรวจลุงมีการเท่านั้นจงเชื่อตัวเอเดน大家懂几个一ข้อwhy got you decide to get into your motorcycle racing?
You know, I always grew up around cars. You know, my dad and my older brother, you know, they're real big car guys, and motorcycle is just different. You know, I can't really explain it. It's just, you know, being able, you feel more connected to the motorcycle versus, you know, driving a car. I really love cars too. I'm a big car guy. But it's just not the same feeling you get, you know, from riding a motorcycle, because you got to use your body, you know, everything, you know, it's just like a manual car. You got to, you know, switch to gears and everything. And, you know, one thing I do like is the sound of a motorcycle.
No, I know your brother liked racing car, right? So now you like motorcycle. So tell us a little bit, when was your first racing?
First race was I believe 6 or 7 months into riding motorcycles. So I've been riding for 2 years now, going into my 3rd year of riding, and yeah, I believe 6-7 months of first getting on a motorcycle, I competed in my first Moto America race, professional race.
When you first getting, how do you feel? When you ride into the racing track, what do you feel when you first racing?
You know, when I first made my Moto America debut, professional race, you know, it's a little nervous. It's a little nerve-wracking because, you know, these guys, Moto America, it's a professional racing series, so it broadcasts live on Fox, and you know, it's all over YouTube. And being able to finally see the guys that I've always been watching for, you know, for years and years and years, you know, it's a little intimidating going out there and racing against them. But you know, over time, you realize that you're just as fast as them, and you're just as good as them, and you start to realize that, oh, you know, it's not as hard as I thought, you know. So it's a little nerve-wracking the very first time, but once you do it multiple times, a few times, you know.
No, I know a lot of people say when you racing car, you're not racing other people, but you're racing yourself. Is that true?
Oh yeah, that's very true. like when we go out and we do our qualifying time, you know, we're not racing against the other 20, 30 guys, you know, that's on the track with us. We're racing ourselves. We're racing our time. You know, we're pushing our bike to the limit.
You're racing your mind, your brain.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're racing your bike. You know, you're racing your time. You know, you're pushing yourself. You're pushing everything, and that's also.
You don't care who's faster than you or who's behind you. You just say, I'm gonna go fast as you can.
That's the one thing I like about motorcycles too. It's you know, when you're out there on the track, it's more of yourself, you know, compared to other sports where, you know, when you're playing football or something, you know,
you compete for the
a team.
Yeah.
So motorcycle racing, yes, it is a team sport. You know, we all have big teams. You know, we all have a lot of people helping us to get where we want to be. But when you're on the track and you're on the motorcycle, you're doing your races, everything is all on you.
Now, today you're racing today and tomorrow you are racing in Motor America in Wisconsin, in Plymouth, Wisconsin. What's next race?
So after this one, we're gonna go to Brainerd in Minnesota after this Sunday. It's his last race, and we're gonna go do a local race over there with CRA. It's just a local race, you know, here, there in the state of Minnesota. And then after that, we're gonna catch on with Moto America in Washington. And in Washington, we go back to California to Laguna Seca, and then back over here to Minnesota at Brainerd.
Now, tell us a little bit. I know a lot of people don't understand how the guidelines, the rules, the policy, or whatever the racing routine works. How that works. Like today, you're on a fourth place. It doesn't mean that you're losing or you're winning. It's just that you competed for the spot. If you get more score, you higher, less time. Is it less time or more time you qualify?
So today in the race, I finished position 9, and I qualified 11th position. So you know, I jumped up 2 spots. How that works is, since we still got one race tomorrow, since we still qualified 11th spot, we stay 11th spot for tomorrow's race. And you know, depending on where you place, you know, like for example, I placed P9 today, position 9. Every placement you do goes on the championship board. So for example, I'm just throwing numbers out there. P9 will give you 4 or 5 points. And towards the end of the season, on the very last race, on the very last round, whoever has the most amount of points for the championship, you know, they win a lot of money, they win the title, they win the #1 place. So there's a lot of things that goes with it.
Because the reason why to me, I still not quite sure how that works, you know. Now, are you planning to go racing outside the country?
Yeah, after this Moto America round, we have 6 rounds left to go, and the final round is in Birmingham, Alabama, which is the final round of Moto America. We are going to go to Thailand and go catch on over there in the Asian Talent Cup.
Now, have you ever been compete with very fast and good racer?
Yeah, it's, you know, the skill level between here and, you know, racing out of country in Thailand, you know, everyone's a good rider. You know, here in the United States for Moto America, we get a lot of guys from, you know, Spain, you know, Japan, and Europe that all come here in America to compete. So, you know, no matter where you go, no matter who you race, there's always going to be fast guys. And you as a rider, you always push yourself forward, you know, to be as fast as them and, you know, to beat them.
Now, talk about being 3 years. Is that long for you?
3 years? No, it's not long. Compared to all the other guys that I compete with, they've been riding since, you know, they started walking, 4, 5, 6 years old. You know, their parents, they were born into the sport. That's what they say. And you know, they're just barely in Moto America, you know. But you know, in 3 years, I feel like, you know, us as a team, we accomplished a lot in a very short amount of time.
Now, talk about racing. Car is 4 wheels. Motorcycle is 2 wheel. Is it? How risky is it?
4 wheels, it's, you know, there's just racing cars and everything. You know, of course, there's always going to be a lot of risk. You know, same thing goes with any sport you play. But motorcycles, you know, it's a lot different because like I mentioned before, you as a rider, you're part of the motorcycle. You lean with the bike, you know, you tell the bike what to do. You know, a lot of the feedback that the motorcycle is giving you, it's not like a person telling you like, hey, you know, you're doing something wrong. The motorcycle, it will shake, you know, it'll try to throw you off. It'll spin up the rear tire. You know, the tires will slide, but you as a rider, you got to understand what the motorcycle is telling you. And you as a rider, you got to come back and tell your mechanic, you know, your suspension guy, tell him what's going on with the bike, and they got to make the changes for your race.
I know this must be very expensive for all this bike and then for coming race, for a racetrack like this. Now, do you plan to be race for a certain age or for as long as you can? Or?
My plan is to get into World Superbike, which is one of the highest level of motorcycle racing in the world. And you know, I definitely think that we got it. Yeah, we definitely got the pace. You know, we definitely got the time to do it. For getting here in, you know, less than 3 years, you know, I believe that as time goes on, you know, we'll just get better, we'll just get faster, and then, you know, next thing you know, that we'll be up there.
Are you planning to jump into bigger bikes?
Yeah, next year we're gonna do 1,000.
Now, are you racing how big is the bike?
This bike that I race on is a Ninja 400.
Okay. How fast is that?
Top speed 130. Yeah, 130 miles per hour.
Now, for bigger bike is faster, right?
Faster, more torquey, you know, close to 200 miles per hour top speed.
Wow. Before we go, anything you want to say to the people who are watching us?
First of all, I like to thank, you know, all my fans, you know, especially my family back at home for supporting me for what I do. You know, there's a lot of time and a lot of money that, you know, goes into racing motorcycles. You know, there's a lot of preparation and everything, and, you know, I would like to thank especially my parents for, you know, supporting me and helping me through this. Actually, before we came here, you know, we came to Minnesota, you know, to visit family and, you know, visit a lot of people. And even here at the racetrack, you know, I had a lot of fans, you know, that came out and, you know, supported me, you know, like, hey, Aden, you know, can I get your autograph and stuff? Can I get a picture of you? And you know, the fans and the supporters, you know, coming out to my races, you know, or seeing me in public and everything, you know, it makes me really happy to see that, you know, and a lot of people, they look up to me and stuff. So that really makes me want to push forward, you know, and, you know, carry the Hmong name, you know, as best as I can, you know, not let everyone down. So if one of you guys are watching this, you know, you guys met me in person, you know, thank you guys for supporting me through all of this. You know, being a racer, we don't just hop on the bike and, you know, we go and race and stuff. Being a racer, we got to do a lot of homework at home. We got to do a lot of training that, you know, that I don't want to do, but I got to do training to perform well on the bike. And, you know, there's a lot of things, you know, there's a lot of mental things that us racers got to do, you know, to do good and get far. So seeing a lot of the fans, seeing a lot of supporters, you know, seeing how much people really look up to me, you know, makes me just want to do my best.
用现在到19年这个的家的叫朋友提，大家谁照顾的，为了摸索是你种的model America，你种什么是干什么？用了也不太少，我当代用更高了，我知道都摸索是我给用的那用了，都大家都摸索是我给用那的啥的假设。
啥？ trên xe lù thế này đây là to nhiều nó chỉ to muốn đi nó chỉ trên xe lù có thể cho dù nu nó như nu đi cha lo lù đi cha thế giờ chỉ chỉnh chỉnh lù nó để họ sợ theo on nó mới có thể Motor America chỉ từ check over này họ thành xe thì của tôi nó cũng feel good hay là ok bây mới pho nhau họ nói thế tôi họ thì bây mới tụi tôi luôn mong lý nó tôi chỉ từ lý nó chỉ của tôi tôi họ nói thế giờ chỉ muốn người chỉ ưu tiên chỉ tôi chọn nó thế nên giờ họ cũng very proud hay là muốn người ưu tiên tôi chọn nó thế giờ họ thì họ thì luôn người America nó luôn sáng ngã thì tiền dance sport nó luôn thế nó tổ nhất tổ thì tiền có sao thì tôi họ nó sẽ nên chúng ta thế chỉ tao nó luôn tôi chỉ tôi chơi mình sẽ luôn sao mai cho rồi này giờ nên là bỏ tao là giờ bây mong giờ cho dance sport này bây mong được chọn đề hình bây giờ thì bây tụ chạy và xuân này mua sĩ từ cho anh gymnastics nữa lo bây giờ mong chừng tao một sao
Olympics
giờ chạy tao thì tuần chạy mong nó sợi trên được bây mong thì bây giờ tao dùng xe thì bây tụ lùa này nó Aden Thao nó lo ตัวถึงขั้นเราใช้ชี้เขาเดียยุ่งยี่แค่ตัวต่อเขาเนาะยังเก่งเดียที่เนี่ยที่จีที่สุดๆที่นึงอยู่สุดเชิงการที่ที่ตัวต่อที่เนาะมาเชียร์เดียตัวอยู่ตัวเราดีเก่งตัวเก่งนะจะที่เชื่อตัวอะไรนะสิเนาะนะรู้โมโรอเมริกันเชียร์เดียโมโรอเมริกันเชียร์เดียอยู่ย่อแต่ที่จุดเชื่อเราจะไรเนี่ยจะที่เชื่ออะไรนั่นน่ะ
ส่วนต่อการกันได้เด่นทอชิตาตามวยตู้รัวอเมริกาวัวเนี่ยจนแต่ว่าแคลิชัยนอมตัวมัวติดเชื้องานในตัวมัวเกชิตือเนี่ยตัวถึงเช่นที่อย่างก็ในย้อยตัวรัวชับเลยเนี่ยตัวในเกชิตือเนี่ยตัวถึงเชี่ยเลย professional ด้วยนอนในมัวกับเราเฉียงซื้อกี่นอนในวันเด็กกูจะเป็นหมดใช้จอก็จะโดนชิตาจะดูกี่นอนถามมินจิตเทโรเชเดโปจอเดียเกชิตาเนี่ยตรงนี้จ้ะ
อย่าคุณตอนนึกถามเนื้อเดียหนึ่งลูกเบลโอ้ยนะนี่ตัวรัวให้ชิตามีจอเขาเดียnhư cái pi cho check qua là motorcycle nó tự nhiên ni pi tổ mê rồi vìเขานี่chỉ do nhiều cho một tàu nó hay cái trả cho một tàu nó chạy nó lo hỗ trợ nên nhiều Aden Thao tí dạng cô thì cô hay thì nếu thơ xong rồi nếu một sảnh rồi thơ rồi một sảnh nó tổng nếu muốn nhiều project này thì nếu mà gì cho một số người shit từ rồi thì chỉ mà chỉ tông ra là tôi cho professional level này nó thì xong nó theo lúc xí hở nó thì nữa khai sai nó thì tu sponsor เนี่ยเลยใจเนี่ยตัวชิตูตัวคันเชียร์นี่เนาะเจนี่ย่อเนื้อหาเจตัดเนี่ยมาเนื้อยกกับย่อเราขอถึงเชียร์ส่วนนอกเราจะถึงหาเดียย่อเจเนี่ยเราโมที่อีเที่ยวที่เป็นเนี่ยเนื้อกูชิโตย่อคนเดียวชิย่อที่กูอ้อเจนี่กูเดีย你知道啥子的？你要找到提高的是呢，多要到提高的嘛，你用行了，你用现在好去到了，那了嘛，你还呢？这你过的给驾车呢，过有一考的有种热的点，也有这那个都车拉的点，那过别说那点。
这里啊，考วิเตอร์ถามเลยอย่างอีกข้อว่าเมื่อถามมินจูหรือเมื่อวันเดย์ทุกข้อเดียวิเตอร์นอนในถามเลยจะชิดถามว่าล้วนเป็นการเราซื้อนะจะจนจริงเราควรจะเป็นเหมือนใช้จอว่าวิเตอร์ต้นดอตู้อเมริกาโนชิดถามจอเดียในเกตัวชิดเช่าลุ่นเราในโรงเรียนดูดีจังแต่ต่อการเป็นมาชิดด้วย
Riding bikes when you were very young age, right?
I was a very young age. I was only 7 years old when I started racing.
And where are you from?
I'm from Southern California, specifically Orange County. That's where I grew up. That's where I was born.
Well, in California has a lot of race tracks like this?
Yes, we're actually pretty close relatively to a lot of tracks in our area. And I was very lucky to be able to get out there and start practicing a lot from a very young age.
How did you get into this? My first question, I want to know why you're up to this point.
So my dad was racing motorcycles about when I was born, and he really wanted to get me into it because he realized that he wasn't really going to get anywhere and he had to start becoming more of a father to me. So to spend more time with me, he started bringing me out to the track, and that's where I started first learning how to ride, and that's where I started first racing too. It's just out in the desert near our home and with local organizations, just starting racing really small bikes.
At what point you start to think about, I'm gonna get into the industry and then be a pro?
It was probably after about a year or two where I realized that my priority was a lot starting to shift more into racing. I was less starting to think, oh, what am I going to do when I grow up? I was more thinking, I want to be a racer when I grow up.
You don't feel like too dangerous or risky, anything there?
I already felt confident enough back then in my own ability and my friends' abilities out on the track that it was a very fun and safe environment for me with all the safety gear we have on and the overall community that I loved coming to the track. I enjoyed coming to it and I felt very safe there, and I felt like it was a very fun thing to get into growing up.
When was your first racing?
My first race was about 7 years ago. Out in Paris, California. I was racing just a small 50cc bike with a local organization. I didn't do good. I got like last place, but it was a fun experience nonetheless.
How old were you when you were first racing?
About 8 years old, 7 years old.
And then when did you turn pro?
Well, just now actually. I mean, technically for professional racing, this is my very first professional event. Before, I've been doing local club races near our area, and now we are traveling all over the United States, racing with my teammates and getting more experience in the professional scene.
To become a good racer, motorcycle racer, what do you need to become a good racer?
I think you need a lot of skill and a lot of experience, because there have been some racers in our times that have gone out there and just they felt like they were on top of the world, but almost every single time they've either gotten hurt or they've moved on because they didn't have enough experience, and they just tried to rely on raw talent. And I feel like that experience is very important to create a safe environment when racing, and it's very interesting to race against other people that are more experienced than you or less experienced than you, and it's very interesting and fun to be in that environment.
Now, do you what kind of skill, like you have to have a good eye vision, coordination, all kind of things together?
Yeah, it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, takes a lot of, I would say, just like raw, like, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I would say that it takes a lot of skill out there to be able to race so close with each other. I think that's a very important factor.
Is it courage? Courage is one of the that you have to have.
Yes, bravery out there to ride so close and trust your other competitors that they are going to race safely alongside you and fast.
Now, as your parents feel good or feel like, no, I don't want you to get into racing?
Now, my dad, my father, has been supporting me my entire career. He's the one who got me into it. He was the one that helped support me all throughout my entire career so far. And now my mom, on the other hand, she likes to come to some of the races sometimes, but she gets very nervous when she's out here. She always wants me to like try other things as well. She isn't as supportive, but she still loves that I'm lucky enough to get to do something that I love.
So, what do you want to be from now on? You want to be moving into a little bit more bigger bikes?
Of course.
Faster?
Yes. I've been also lucky enough to get the chance to ride these faster bikes before, and I love it. I mean, it's so exhilarating and fun to race these bikes, and just even to get a touch of like what it's going to be like in the future. I have to get enough experience on these bikes here and try to level up to those faster bikes, but you're right, I am looking forward to my career on faster bikes as well.
Now, these bikes right here, how fast you go?
Our top speeds will be around 120 to 130 miles per hour. It depends on where you're at, it depends on how fast your bike is specifically, but that's around the top speed that we're getting.
Now, I know you raced, your result today, you are in 14th place today?
Yeah, I actually got 12th place today. I'm pretty proud of that, especially since I started out in 14th place. I'm glad that I got to move up and finish higher than I was originally placed.
Tell us a little bit about how that works. They go by score, or go by how fast you go? Or?
So the positioning is done where whoever comes across the line first, when they throw the checkered flag at the finish line, whoever comes across first is in first place, and then the next person that comes across behind them is second place, and so on and so forth. So I ended up getting 12th place today. I know I could have done better, and we're going to improve for tomorrow, but I was at a pace to go a lot faster. I know I can go faster, and I know I have the confidence and the ability to get a better position tomorrow.
Lipat ta cũng có thản ở tòn té cơn gọi là cái chỉ ta lên đó rồi nó có tua bỏ cái shit từ trong lên nó này cũng sao thì rồi nó thấy rồi có tua nhớ trong đó model American nó rồi nó giờ rồi theo của tôi nhớ trong đó nó là có bỏ tới giặt tới đi cha khi rồi cho ta bỏ sai shit thản nhớ trong chân là thế.
Yeah, giờ bây giờ nè của hai đứa này thì lúc bên mô rồi America nó mà nó sự kiện địa tế nè cho đi cụ xã theo cụ bao chỉ là sĩ tư nó mà chia địa tế cho nên nhau Wisconsin tôi sĩ tư rồi ạ là tôi giờ lúc lá tôi là tôi giờ sẽ kéo tôi chỉ cụ tôi bỏ hai địa ô Mika nó lỡ tỏ lỡ quá chỉ là câu nào lên chỗ nhiệt chế thì tiếc lỡ tua nó lỡ chỉ chia tua tới lúc chơi mình bé một chỗ lại phổ đến rồi chỉ sao mà cho thâu tới cùng tua chơi thì nó cái bỏ to thì lỡ chân ngà lỡ chân thì tiếc lỡ chân mù tàu đây nó cho hai đàn sport nó họ có thi họ dùng xe thì Aden Thao vậy tụi lọ mong cái nửa cú tua nó lỡ chỉ từ đầu đàn chỉ xe professional nên nó chỉ cú vào chỗ ướt tàu tua này nó là cú tàu tua này nó thật rồi ở cú bỏ được cú lúc không mua cái điều chỉ dùng gì kia giờ tôi cho rồi lúc xí hở nó là giờ thành nó mà như nhau của thì tiền thì tàu tua thì kinh thì tiền thì
họ cú bỏ vậy họ giờ họ thì lúc công trình nó lo lên nó chỉ là công trình không thì công trình America cho bây giờ mong cho mua số sự chỉ chơi lu tuổi xa mua số sự này bên mong thia gà tàu tôi mua số sự còn cho tôi tới chợ America cho cũng chẳng nó lo gì nó ở bên số mong vậy lu nhớ tụi nó giờ đi xong ta là nó xong hết sẽ có chuyện để bên số mong tàu mua bỏ rong lần để họ tới chợ America nó giờ lu mua tàu số sự rong hình nhớ tới chợ America nó là America thì là luôn America thì recognize là giờ là một bao giờ bên số mong nhớ tụi nó chỉ nó vậy họ cáiที่cụ thể tàu tôi mua số sự nhớ tụi nó thì cái tụi mua số sự nó giờ họ chỉ cho dùng gì cái thếแต่กี่จงนั้นเนี่ยเขาถักให้มันจะโดนเสด็จพ่อจ้ะ
yeah 我哋嗰邊係 sometimes เนี่ยมันแต่รู้เชื่อ嗰邊มันจี係做俾咗嗰啲蒙เลย俾咗將nó choวัวเลย俾蒙包嘅俾ตัวอเมริกาเนี่ยnó mà lỡวันนี้ว่าได้สิตัวเป็นการร้อนnó chỉ lỡ chịu nhau rồi béเลยgiờ vì cái lỡหัวเด็ก credential chỉ có chủ mốc credential chỉ cóตัวsao cái credential đó là chỉ lỡ approve có chỉ là thiết bút cáiตัวgiờ là chỉ approve có chỉ ý theo là chỉ báo có là cái giờ lý giải chỉ là chỉ báo cái chỉ là chỉ cả cáiตัวchỉ là cả ta chỉ thể cáiตัวthể hiện lâu chỉ tôi chỉ tao mà họ cũng giàu xe trong xe chấp lấy họ thì là approve cáiตัวchỉ họ bỏ tới tiềnแต่rồi này cũng giàu xe họ thì chỉ chính kỳ bên lúc xe họ lo我对啥事呢？都是到农田你能够从我老呢，也不啥的，也靠古种现出来的古的几啥做的古多能做能那天。
一靠我用插来那么。ก็ตัวมั่วอย่างไรก็ได้กูเนาะตัวมั่วสื่อตอนเราเขาเชิญดูในอเมริกาลาติยาเกมมั่วสื่อแล้วมาย้อนดูได้เจออเมริกาเนาะเราจะรู้คงเชิญล้อลีเนาะเราจะคงเชิญเมลาติยาก็แล้วมั่วแล้วเขาเชิญตัวจะในมั่วสื่อมุนเดชเที่ยวเราเตี่ยจะในมั่วสื่อจงโดยไปจับห้องเราอยู่ให้พอจะเจ้งดูกับเสด็จพ่อจ้าจะเกตัวมั่วสื่อเราจะย่งยีตัวก็ตัวจ้าเราจะย่งยีตัวก็ตอนเด็กเป็นมงนะมาที่ก็ที่กูมัวตัวสุดๆตัวแรงกว่าแต่รู้ช่วงนั้นยัวเกินกว่าเลยแต่เราก็มุ่งจะตรงไหนแต่เราคงใช้แล้วที่จิตสาก็มุ่งมั่วสุดๆแค่นะจริงๆมันต้องอย่างใช่ไหมตอนเราถามไม่เมก็เสด็จพ่อจอยนะสิอีกข้อว่ากูปอเดี๋ยวจะชับอะไรเนี่ยตัวรู้แจ้งนอดูเขาเดี๋ยวรู้แจ้งนอย้อยรู้แจ้งมัวก้ามอกกับดีกว่าช่วยเนี่ยเราได้จะไม่กล้านู่นเราก็ได้กูตัวเจ้าของเราcho nên lông đại bảo có con chuyện non chơi chỉ mua ít % là
cú ya tụ lông thì theo cho mình cả của tôi to cú ya tụ lông mình cả chuyện như cú này
chỉ còn là vậy họ tới rồi nhớ được rồi nó cái chỉ ta lên đó vấn đề ở sinh trạng này có phụ nữ đã chơi đôi cho nên cái tiếng trà thế cho bây giờ cái giải ở chỉ tàu thả thôi chứ
我哋估係呢又比較嗰啲蒙只係一學啲老師朋友Aden Thaoกูยามูโตสิริยากูหาจะมั่วแผ่นยามูชีตืออันนี้เราที่จะไทยเดี๋ยวนี้คือที่มงเนี่ยเราไทยเตะเราเนี่ยฮะติดโตเท่าชีตานเราเนี่ยเนี่ยก็ชีเชิงกายอยู่เท่าตัวเขากูโอลิกูเพิ่งหายไปสุดเท่าริชฐานน้องๆrồi yaตาเรายันมูเนี่ยฮะเดี๋ยวนี้ Aden Thao ซึ่งนี่
รุ่นเสกท่อซึ่งจะโอเคที่เสกโตเป็นตันดอเลย
แต่สิ่งนี้ฮะเดี๋ยวนี้你有冇？而且才多的你手机被某人扔掉，你要热了没撑啊的，那个你还有没些的，其他的那个老板的被某人了，中的这些，老么家到古不还那么个只考到呢，呀个 我领导这叫 major sponsor 咯，老哩我彼此也哩Nike 咯，了么 Yamaha 咯，还是 China Yamaha 咯，Honda 咯，Kawasaki 咯，Suzuki 咯，cho nó gì cho yo bỏ nhiêu thì có nè, thì để có bỏ tên nó là chỉ để cho professional nó là thế bay là lọp luôn nó chỉ cho nó cho bao nhiêu tiền rồi là thế này thì kinh sầu thế, tôi thì tiền là mua cho bao nhiêu sầu thế nè.
Thế họ và chúng ta có thể chấp lại nhớ trong đó Aden Thao luôn treo luôn là giờ lúc check over là giờ lúc motorcycle vì hệ thì mua ít tu sponsor bây giờ tụt trừ cái sponsor đó nếu mua lúc bây giờ là lo cái trong đó thì giảm mong vậy nè thì con nói họ sẽ chấp lại giờ thì Aden Thao là một sĩ tử sẽ tới chờ tên đấy chứ nếu sẽ chạy tan nó bây giờ mong lấy bắt ta cái hay hoặc là bỏ lúc một tuần nó kia chỉ là bỏ bên mong lúc bây nhớ cho họ con nói họ phải dùng chấp lại theo vừa cho đầu được Correspondent lo nữa, một tháng ngày thì kỳ trong này nó tận đây nó cho là lúa, giờ thì này họ mua bánh trâu là giờ họ dùng là một tháng ngày thì kỳ trong nó là một tháng ngày bên luôn bên Hmong rồi giờ tận đây được có thể cái ship từ nó chỉ ship từ là bên Hmong á, ship từ lừa hay nên còn có sự việc nó lúa bỏ thì lúa thì Hmong này giờ đã chỉ giờ nó dùng sớt từ bên Hmong này đây thì
họ còn mà đi chỉnh chỉnh chấp lại này thì bên Hmong mà bên một chiếc gió để ship bên luôn bên một gió rồi, thì họ dùng hàng của sao thì但是很多人太呢，人太多呢，人太人套路车呢要，就从这带呢，给人就跑的路被得到就手接点我，走了人，给了点有那样一
แต่ตัวไม่กล้าบอกเลยว้าวว่าจะรู้แต่รุ่นเป็นนอคูลิจ่าหาลิจ่าไม่เจนเลยไม่ใช่คนจงชับเลย
เขาจริงจริง
จะเรียกกูจะไปเตอร์หลังชิ้นในเราซื้อตอนที่เราไม่ได้จันซีอย่าตีก็มัวเชื่อเต็มเตอร์ตัวมัวสอสื่อที่เราคงชงล้อเลยนอนซีมาว่าเขาชิฐานซีวิยาจะตัวผู้ดูในเสด็จต่อปอดที่ตัวเป้าจอเด็กเก๋ชื่อชีที่เกิดจันซานเนี่ยเป็นจันหนึ่งพวกในเขาหมู่บ้านมึงได้หมู่ลิจ่าเราจะเขาป้องกันได้หมู่ลิจ่าเขาจงลิจ่าที่มาจอบตัวดูในเสด็จต่อป้องซีจะเรียกกูยาอีชวนสิกูยาริชบ้านหรือบ้านเขาคุณอยากบิดเตอร์บ้านอื่นชิ้นในเราซื้อไปมาชิ้นชีดัว
要用那时的被嘛洗洗着呢。